Welcome back, STOMP Wrestling fam. Boy, we got an interesting video for you guys today. Obviously, it's your man, MPKH, filtered, unfiltered, whatever persona I feel like using best. And this time, I'll go easy. I'll use filtered. And I got the boys with me. Mulalo, MKM Wrestling. I've got the South African Wrestling Observer here. And I got Mr. No Days Off, WrestleDrop. So, we're here to talk about a topic that's been going on Twitter for a few days. We're here to talk about Mr. TNA, the face that runs the place, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Now, the question, fellas, I have for you today, is AJ Styles top 10? That means top 10 in the WWE, of course. What do we say about that?
So we're going top 10 in the WWE because I think that narrows it down. I'd say the discussion's really more open if you say top 10 ever in all promotions.
Let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Is AJ Styles top 10 of all time?
Yes, he is.
Why do you say that?
Because he wrestled in TNA before. Ne? I started watching him in TNA. I know him from TNA before WWE. He was also one of my favorites also back in TNA. Ne? He won the world champion. He also won the X Division champion and the tag team champion. Right. He had the best match with Sting, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, who else? RVD, Rob Van Dam, and Jeff Hardy and Austin Aries. Mm-hmm. When he came to WWE, when he came to WWE in 2016, when he came to WWE in 2016, he was feuding with John Cena. I really like that feud, but I think I wanted John Cena to win.
But here's a question I got: if John Cena had to win that feud with AJ Styles back in 2016, don't you think it would have derailed his momentum a bit?
Yeah, it would, because back there I was a kid, by the way. But now when I see it, I now understand why AJ Styles needed to win.
So, Mr. South African Wrestling Observer, what do you say? Is AJ Styles top 10 all time?
Sir, I'm going to say yes. I feel like AJ has accomplished so much in so many places. And that's the conversation we're having before we started recording. That he's been around the world, and an argument was made that he's only been in 3 companies, but 3 companies that are in the top 5 companies in the world trusted him to be the top guy. He led a faction which has fallen off, yes, but at that time he led it at its peak, I feel.
Hashtag Bullet Club.
I feel that when he took over, it was prime Bullet Club. If not a bit before, a bit after. But that was the Bullet Club, not this Bullet Club that's taking everyone. That's not the point. My point is, he went to TNA. He was the top guy. He had amazing feuds, as Mulalo is saying, and he won the top prize. He was a mainstay. He went to Japan. He won the top prize. He led a faction and was a mainstay. The only reason he left Japan was to go to the biggest company of them all, WWE. He got there, and what happened? He won the big one. He was a mainstay. He was a big deal. Him entering in that Royal Rumble, yes, the camera angle was crap, but we all knew that something was about to happen. There was a change in the air when AJ Styles walked into that company. And his run into the company has proven that for me. That, you know what, AJ Styles is reliable. He's wrestling so late into his career, but he's still a top guy. I mean, he's reliable, he's athletic, and I really feel like he has one more title reign left in him, but even if he doesn't, it won't hurt him. You get me? Yeah. Because he has done all that he needs to do in all the companies he's been to. Because he's done enough for me to put him in my top 10 of all time.
So here's an interesting question. I'm not saying that AJ Styles is all elite, but if AJ Styles decided, you know what, I've done what I need to in WWE, let me just spend, like, say, the last, 2-3 years in another company doing my thing, if he decided to jump ship to AEW, how do you think it would go? How do you think it would go for him?
Same way as Daniel Bryan. Same way as... I don't know. I can't think of anyone else right now because it's off the top of my head. But I don't think it will grow too great because of his age, number one. Honestly, he's
40.
He's slowed down in recent years. So I don't know if you could keep up with some of the names there. I'm being honest.
He should
It's a realistic thing. He's aged. It's not me bashing the guy. Because even his latest matches, they've been slower. He's changing his style slightly. Excuse the pun. So that's, for me,
Nice.
him and AEW wouldn't work right now. I think he's a WWE guy right now.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, WrestleDrop, since you're on the topic of aging, has it been a little bit of a problem because with AJ Styles slowing down a bit? Or are you just comfortable with it?
I'm comfortable with it. He's done everything he's needed to do. He's won the title twice. He's had good matches with so many people. And now he's winding down, putting people over, getting his experience, giving his experience and his knowledge onto other people. I don't mind it. I really don't. He's a good, safe pair of hands. So him doing what he's doing, I'm fine with it. As long as I get to see him on TV, have a good match every now and then, I'm good with it. I mean, like him losing to Ciampa the other day. It just elevated Ciampa a little bit more. Gave Ciampa that little bit more.
All right, so I'm under the impression, do you believe he's top 10 all time? Do you believe it?
I think he's on the borderline. I think he's borderline. Because I got a list here of just random names that had just popped up in my head in the last, like while you guys were talking, I'll just put down a couple names like for literally 30 seconds. Names that could arguably be ahead of him in the list. So we got like Okada, for instance, Triple H, HBK, Stone Cold, Bret, The Rock, Brock, Edge, Batista, Cena, Orton, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, and you're not going to like this one, but Hogan. Those are just some names that I thought of off the top of my head. So is top 10 a stretch for him? Not saying he's not as good as those guys, but is it a stretch?
I think to me, AJ Styles has a good case of being in the top 10. May not be above guys like Rock, Austin, Undertaker, Cena, HBK, Bret, but he definitely deserves a shot because of all that he's done for. We're talking about the same that.
Are we talking his Sorry, I just want to ask something. Are we talking about his wrestling ability or him as a wrestler? Because that's a different topic. Because his wrestling ability, I'd put him top 5. But as a wrestler in total, for what we watch wrestling, we don't just watch wrestling for in-ring performances. We watch it for the whole spectacle of wrestling. I wouldn't put him in top 10.
I've got a question, right? And this question sparks from the list you just gave. You mentioned a lot of guys who never left WCW or WWE. A lot of people on that list have stayed in the same company, which is fine. I respect that. I respect people who can stay in one place and make it work. You understand? But that's mainstream wrestling. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to miss WWE. It's hard to look back and not find an old WWE match of Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan or The Rock. But how often did we pay attention to AJ Styles in the other company? Because I certainly did not watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. But history reckons that AJ was on top.
Well, let me just say...
I didn't watch CNN when AJ was on top, but history reckons he was good. And so my thing is, if I haven't watched him in those days, but I know enough for me to make a case that he is in the top 10, then what more for people who have been in the same company for a while? You get what I'm saying?
In the beginning of the video, you said the only reason he left New Japan was to go to the big one. You said those words. So these guys succeeding in the big one is worth more than being the face of TNA, which decreased rapidly in his last probably 5 years that he was there. So he was on top of a company that was second fiddle to WWE. I'm not hating on TNA. I'm stating the facts for top 10 wrestlers of all time. So I think being on top of WWE is bigger than being on top of New Japan, for example. I suppose for them it's a different story because it's a different side of the world. But being on top of TNA or being on top of WWE, I think it's two different things. Two totally different things.
Well,
That's the
when
way
you
I
look
look
at
My
it,
question is,
when you look at it, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Because TNA at the time were like competitors to WWE, and they had AJ Styles as the face of that company for like what, 11 years. Some might even call him the John Cena of TNA, which I think is kind of true, but really
very
John
true
Cena.
for that time. Yeah.
But also when he came to the WWE, or as some people on Twitter would call it, the Fed. Would you say which run would you prefer more, really? If you look at it from, say, match quality, rivalries, and I know what your guys' answer is going to be. I'm just laying it out there. If you had to rank it, why would you think his WWE or TNA run is better than his others? Which one would you say is the best?
I think they're different. His New Japan run, his matches were excellent. His TNA run obviously had all the stories and the matches with the likes of Samoa Joe, Angle, all of those guys. And when he came to WWE, he had probably one of his best matches ever with Cena. So it's kind of like he's done his best everywhere he's gone. So I can't say one's better than the other. And especially the different times in his career, WWE is winding down for the last 3 or 4 years. So I don't think it's comparable. I really don't.
I think looking at it, you get a bit of AJ Styles in every run that he's been in, because he played the role of the menace who goes against authority in TNA. In New Japan, he played the untouchable, and in WWE, he played the underdog because he was going against John Cena. And that's not to say that he was not as accomplished coming into WWE. But WWE ultimately was John Cena's house. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like every aspect of every run made AJ Styles who he is today.
Exactly.
As Ricardo is saying, in the final years of his career. So comparing it, I feel would be a bit difficult, if not unfair, because one without the other wouldn't have given us the AJ Styles we know now.
Sure. Mulalo, what do you have to say about this? What run do you prefer the most? Is WWE, TNA, or New Japan run?
It's best run for me, ne? I have to say WWE.
WWE. Elaborate on that. Why do you think is it the best? Why do you think it?
By now, I don't think it's not the best. But the first time when he started, it was the best. His most run, I just say TNA run because he's been there for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
His worst run, TNA.
The worst run, I did not say TNA was the worst run.
So what are you saying?
You didn't listen to me properly. That's the thing. You didn't say I said worst. It was not the worst run. I said his TNA run was the best.
Oh, best. Okay, so I heard wrong.
Oh, but you said it was the worst. Okay, here's an interesting question. So, during AJ Styles' rookie run, like he came in the Royal Rumble, lost it 20 minutes, and then 6 months later became WWE champion. Where would you rank that rookie run? Where would you rank AJ Styles' rookie run in WWE compared to the likes of Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle,
Sheamus.
Hell, if I say it, Ric Flair. Who else? Who else had an impressive run?
In his 8 days of WWE.
Where would you rank AJ Styles' rookie year above the guys that I mentioned?
I wouldn't I wouldn't put it above any
Yeah,
of them.
he falls. Yeah, he falls very.
Not
low
even
on that.
Sheamus.
Well, maybe Sheamus. Maybe Sheamus.
No, Sheamus had a good rookie year. Sheamus won the
No,
championship.
he was pushed
after
to
how
the
long?
moon.
That's
He was
saying-
pushed to the moon. That's not saying he had a good rookie year.
AJ Styles had everything needed to push him to the moon. but he
Exactly.
didn't.
Sheamus
That's it.
didn't. He was just pushed. Why are we arguing about Sheamus and AJ Styles?
Because he had big muscles, because he was big. That's
We're
why
talking
he was
about Sheamus,
pushed.
not AJ Styles and Sheamus.
I get it, but to me, Styles earned his right to have that run. Sheamus was a complete rookie who we'd never seen before. So that's why I say Styles ahead of Sheamus.
All right. So you wouldn't put him
Why
above the
was
likes
AJ
of...
Styles not pushed with the repertoire that he came in with?
Why wasn't he? He was pushed.
Yeah.
Though. He went over Cena. That's being pushed in my opinion. Beating Super
So what's
Cena.
the difference between his push and Sheamus?
2016.
The fact that he was established, he'd won everything everywhere else. What had Sheamus done? You'd never heard of Sheamus before that. That's why I say Styles earned it more than Sheamus. To be pushed that heavily, that's what I mean.
Okay, so the wrestlers that I mentioned in their rookie years, where would you rank them from 1 to 5? How would you rank them?
Bro, I forgot half the names you mentioned. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, I'll repeat myself again. The names are Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
Kurt Angle, Sheamus, Ric Flair, and AJ Styles.
I'll probably say Brock, Angle, Flair, AJ, Sheamus. That's my order.
1 to 5.
Yeah, Sheamus last. Brock being first.
SA Wrestling Observer, what do you say? What do you say about that? 1 to 5. Which one is the best?
Brock Lesnar,
Mhm.
Kurt Angle. I'd put AJ Styles last. And then
Interesting.
I'd definitely put AJ Styles last and Brock first. I think the middle is where I get messed up.
Yeah, it's just is what it is, the middle to me.
Yeah. I get
Right.
messed up in the middle. But first Brock, last AJ.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so to elaborate, I think many of us, well, all of us believe AJ has the credentials to be a top 10 wrestler all time. And I think many of us believe he's had possibly one of the best rookie years. Maybe number 4 in WWE, or in the Wrestling Observer of South Africa's case, number 5. Anyways, guys, I think that is the end of the video from all of us here. If you enjoyed the video, please stomp on that like button, stomp that subscribe button, and stomp on that bell icon to be notified on when your favorite Stomp Boys appear next. Let us know in the comments if you believe AJ Styles is a top 10 wrestler of all time. But until then, we will see you guys later. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just too sweet.